they're my world. Today, I was told to come talk about the process and how you go through your process. For me, I can say my mindset has changed from where I was a year ago to where I am today. For me, I was going to school only to be an athlete. And when I found out there was no practice, there was no school. That was my whole mentality. So for me, I had to do a whole 360 of life, and with that, I had to change my mindset. So my mindset went from school wasn't important, but it was me being an athlete that was more important. So I had to change the way I think. So with my 5 steps of getting you through your process, I want to start by saying mindset is your number one thing. You gotta have a positive mindset. With a positive mindset, it can get you through the toughest times in your life. I know for me, growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, me being with a single parent and not really wanting to ask for a lot, I had to have that mindset of, I'm gonna get that when that time comes. So mindset is the number one thing. And I go over mindset. I have this saying that once you can control your mind, you can control your life. And once you can control your life, you can control your success. And I'll repeat it, once you can control your mind, you can control your life. And once you can control your life, you can control your success. And that's something I live by. I know that I have so many people who say that they want to do this and want to do that, and I want them to sit down and think about that. The first thing of going into your process of success, you have to think about your plan before you can execute. I know with football, we have to go through so many practices before we can even step on the field to play an opponent. So for me, I have to prepare my mind to take on this task. And that's the biggest thing about mindset. And for me, I like to have this a certain thing about mindset. I have to think about I have to create a positive mindset in order to get through that drive. And the next thing, my number 2 is working hard and putting it in. In order to work hard and in order to have that right mindset, you have to be willing to put in the work and start to finish in the process. And from putting that work in, I have my little brother who's 11 years old. He tells me every day, I'm going to the NBA. I know for sure I'm going to the NBA. And I tell him it's possible, because it is possible. And he has to work towards it. I have to tell him that you know that you have to put in the work in school in order for you to go to the next level. So it starts in the classroom. And then the next thing, it starts with him doing everything to separate yourself from everyone else to make yourself better. And that's how you expand yourself and take yourself to the next level. And I say drive because a car with no drive, I don't know how far neutral is gonna get you, but I know neutral is gonna stay in that one spot. So you have to have that drive in order to go somewhere. And I say that because the person with dreams and goals with no drive to get to those goals will never go nowhere. So you have to have that drive. And you gotta be willing to put that work in from start to finish. I love to be around certain people who are going to drive me when I don't have that self-motivation to drive myself. So you have to be self-motivated and willing to put in that work. And my number 3, of course, is staying focused. For me, I used to do my homework with myself on the same room. I can't do that anymore. Because when I see my phone light up, I instantly pick it up and I check my notifications or who's live. And I know once I lose focus of that homework assignment, it's automatically an assignment. It's just no going back to it. So you have to be willing to stay focused, have that right mindset, but also have that drive and to finish that homework assignment. You can't put things aside. I know for me, keeping that focus is something that's very important. Because as a child, sitting in the classroom with other students, I like to get around. I like to stand up and walk around. I had to be able to grow up and mature and be able to keep that focus and be able to remain in my process and go reach my goals. And with that being said, my number 4 is environment. And I say that because so many things can distract you. Home situations, having multiple jobs, or even your friends. So I say your environment is because the people who are around you are the most important. Those people are the ones who are going to support you. And for me, I have a team. I told myself going into 2017, I need to build a team. And with this team, it's full of people who have drive, who have a plan, have goals. You have to have those things to be a part of my team. And other than that, I don't want those people on my team. And so with a team like that, you're an unstoppable team. And that's a brotherhood. And that's why I love the fact that I'm a part of a football team. Because being a part of football is what brought that drive out and showed me how to, commit and stay focused on one thing. And that's how I treat my process, as if I'm staying focused on something. So that environment is something that you have to have a good environment around you, the people around you. My teachers who are people who really supported everything I did. I'm 19 years old and I'm a motivational speaker. The first thing I said was, oh, I'm gonna be a motivational speaker. The first thing people said, well, oh, you're only 19 years old. And I said, well, what's the age requirement of being a motivational speaker? And they didn't have a response. So I said, well, a motivational speaker to me is someone who can motivate and inspire somebody to do something. And that's what I want to do. I want to motivate and inspire people to get up and go do something. So I felt like, okay, then there's no age requirement. And is it a height or weight? So I feel like I'm required to do wherever I put my mind to. That's why I say mindset is my number one. When I knew that this is what I was going to do, I put everything into it. I invested my whole self. And I had to build that team to pick me up. I said I was raised by a single mother. And doing that for me helped build who I am today. And I say that because my mother is a strong. And she cut me off a long time ago. She said, oh, you're gonna be a man, you're gonna be a little boy, but you're gonna be a little grown man. So that to me created that mindset of to go get everything that I deserve. Everything that is for you will get to you if you put the right steps in to get to your process. So what's made for me is only made for me. So I learned that, and I had to build that team. And with that team came my mother, and I have best friends who, when I'm down, can pick me up. You have to have people a part of your team who you can call instantly and know that will have your back. And I know from being in high school, if there was those days where I didn't want to go to school, and I had a math teacher who would get on me like, you need to go to school. I don't see how you want to go to the next level when you're not putting forth effort to get to the next level by taking care of your education first. And with that, education is always important. And I had to learn that the hard way. So this environment, and its next step is my fifth step. But it's not necessarily a step, it's a warning. And the warning is failure. Failure stops people from doing a lot of things. Failure can stop you from doing something before you do it. And I learned that with school. I was a terrible test taker. I had an IEP for test taking, so I got extended time or modified testing. And I was like, oh, I can never pass a test, I can never pass a test. And I was like, well, why can't I pass a test? And it took me 19 years to realize that I never passed a test because I never wanted to study. It took me so long to find out that I was never a bad test taker, I just didn't know how to study. So once I learned how to study, my whole perspective of taking tests changed. As long as you give me a day or two ahead of time, I'm going to study for that test and I will pass it. And that comes with my mindset. And that comes with staying focused and having that drive. Those things will knock through a brick wall. And I say that because I watched those videos of the black belts, and it's the brick in front of them, and they knock the brick down with their head and say, what type of mindset do you have to knock the brick down with your head? And I said, that's the type of mindset I want to have. And that's the type of mindset that I have when I step on the field as an outside lineman. I have to know that if this lineman coming at me who is 2 times bigger than me, I have to instantly turn that light on to know that if he's coming at me, I got to go at him as hard as he's coming at me. It's going to look ugly. So that mindset is the same mindset you have to put towards your education. And I say that because school to me is very important. This is one of my t-shirts. It's winning is key and knowledge is power. And now that I was a bad test taker, now I read 30 pages a night. And I read 30 pages a night of books that I love. And I love books that motivates me. And I love to hear other people's stories. So those are the books I read. My motto is stay winning. And I want to win in every aspect of my life. And winning to me comes from achieving goals. And that is short-term goals or long-term goals. My goals were at the beginning of this year to find out who I was. Because I was stuck between a hero's journey. So I had to find out who I was. And I had to find out by changing my mindset, knowing what I liked, and getting into that drive and putting everything in gear to go towards my goals. And I'm so glad that I chose to do motivational speaking because I get to meet so many different people and see so many different faces. And I love the energy that people give off to me, so the same energy that I give off to them. And I'm 19 years old and I hope to continue to grow. And for me, I was so glad when Miss Ali Kaiser called me and she said, I have a speaking engagement for you. And I said, really? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, well, okay, I wrote this speech 5 months ago. When I realized I wanted to be a motivational speaker, I set myself down, I told my mother, I want to inspire people. Me being younger, I was the person who my friends would come to for advice. If it wasn't on the football field, if it wasn't in school, if it was family problems, I was the home where all your friends came over to stay the night if something was bad. So for me, I was like, well, why do everyone come to me, and what is it that I do that make people, uplift from their bad situations, or even motivate them to do something else in life that they want to achieve? So that inspired me to want to go into it. And I said, well, my mom said, well, it's a great idea, but you know what you want to talk about? And I said, yeah, I'm going to talk about me. But she said, you're young. And I said, I know I'm young, but I can motivate people no matter how old I am, because there's no age requirement. So I continued to, that night I wrote down all my speeches. I wrote down a speech for everything that I may come across. And she asked about the process, and I said, well, process, I have thousands of speeches for process, because I'm in my process right now, and I continue to go through my process. But I'm so glad I was given this opportunity to come speak today, and thank you so much.